Just going to go over, I got a flyer in the mail, and I'm assuming it's the best PR that the energy company has. So I'll just cover those 3 points that they covered on the flyer. First one said they're better for the environment. Power plants are never, I repeat, never better for the environment. Even though a new power plant may be more efficient, use natural gas rather than coal or oil, or produce less pollution than other power plants, a power plant is, by its very nature, a pollution-generating enterprise. And power plants as a whole represent, I quote, the single largest source of carbon pollution in the U.S., from the Natural Resources Defense Council. The power plant being proposed may be better than other power plants, but a power plant is still bad for the environment, not better. While natural gas emits less carbon dioxide when combusted in a newer power plant compared to a coal plant, this is only part of the information about pollution from this power source. For example, as the gas moves through pipelines, there's leakage of methane, which has far more destructive effect on polluting the atmosphere than the large amounts of carbon dioxide released from the smokestacks at the plant. Even though natural gas power plant produces less of the pollutants that are linked to asthma, bronchitis, lung cancer, and heart disease, such as sulfur, mercury, nitrogen oxides, and particulates, this proposed power plant would still spew these hazardous chemicals into our air and our surrounding environment. There are a myriad of environmental issues with fracking and degradation of the environment. People have covered those. The list goes on and on. And I'm just going to take something from an MIT organization that states, even if the U.S. shifts primarily to natural gas to meet electricity needs, the levels of heat-trapping emissions will barely change. So it is not better for the environment. And it's deceptive to try to equate a power plant as being better for the environment, because it's not. They also list as it would be an economic engine for Burrillville. The information presented looks simplistically at economic considerations. We often assume that with more money, things will be better for the people within the economy. There will be more jobs, more tax revenues that will result in money for town services and infrastructure, and that this means progress. However, we have to remember that the proposed project will create significant pollution. Most people would agree that increasing levels of pollution does not indicate progress. Since increased pollution leads to environmental and health risks, which then lead to increased medical costs for individuals and families. So while the energy company and the town will gain increased revenue, the people will bear any environmental and health costs associated with this proposed plant. The environmental and health costs serve to stall Burrillville's economic engine. If you think about it and take the time to include more accurate information, facts, and a more realistic and representative list of factors, it becomes clear that this proposed power plant is most definitely not win-win. It's a bad idea for a town or even the state. What do we get known as? The filthy power plant of New England? And all this for a mere 20-something permanent jobs that may not even be held by Rhode Island residents. And what is best for the town and the state, it is requested that this board continue to search for favorable and less destructive possibilities for development, since environmental, health, and economic costs associated with this proposed power plant conflict with Rhode Island's efforts to reduce emissions. Thank you.